Da 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 I'll be with you in just one moment. Let me get my music on here. There's Canada. Hey, yeah, we're gonna do that one. We're gonna do Chelsea's song, slowed down by 1,000%. Now, I was like, oh, Chelsea, you set me free, finally. But Din Venom's fucking ex-pig was as hot as Chelsea. When we used to do gold shows, you have to get a bunch of people to sign in. Some bunch of people to chip in. Each person has to put in $5 or $10, whatever we could choose the price, for a 10-minute show or 15 minutes. And if we get, so our goal is like $500. Our goal is $300. If we make $300, we'll do a gold show. If not, we won't. But we'd get over it. More people would come into the show. And so people would say, when they see Din Venom's ex-pig, they'd say, tip in, everyone. Why aren't you tipping in? We can never see a girl like this again. We might never see another girl like this again in our lives, including on porn. But I was like, yeah, but that's just my little pig over here. Because of fuck. For some reason I wanted Chelsea. And, I was like, why? Why? Well, because she had a super hot face. Yeah, but what about the body? Yeah, I know. Well, then why? Yeah, but then Din Venom's ex-pig had the body, so why weren't you obsessed with Din Venom's pig like that? Din Venom's ex-pig. Well, I was. I laughed when I saw, I fucking laughed. I was like, this is hilarious. How fucking hot you are. It's hilarious. Makes no sense. And I ordered my ninja pants, and someone liked my post, but I'll get to that in a minute. It disturbs me that the only people who even are watching are people who hate me. It fucking disturbs me, okay? I'm wondering, what's the deal here? And it's so stupid, it's so petty. I'm like, you fucking haters, you've never fucked a hot pig. You've never fucked a hot pig in your life. And you never will. You never will. And that's what you hate. That's really, truly what you hate. It's that you just ain't hot. You just don't have the fucking sizzle. So you gotta put feces in someone's food. Or some fucking shit like that. You gotta go, haha, we got him, we made him eat shit. Because you can never lick a hot butthole. You can never have the microscopic layer of shit off a super hot butthole. You're like, we gotta make him eat cat shit. We gotta make him eat cat shit. I'm like, I still wouldn't rather be you. I'd rather eat cat shit than be you. I'd rather fuck the pigs I've fucked and eat cat shit than be you. You could tell me if I'm lying. Anyway, tell me if you're lying, that you'd rather not be you. And, these fucking, you can't argue with these fucking people, okay? All you can do is laugh at them. They only talk with a sniper, they only understand blood and money, and they only talk with a sniper. And you can't argue with them. You can't do anything. And, am I pissed? No, not really. Not really. But why didn't I see it with Din Venom's ex-pig? There was another one, a Norwegian named Lil. And she was also that level. And fucking, you know, to some extent, Jess and fucking, why didn't I get all fucking uppity about these pics? Well, because they never fucking cucked me. They never fucking nagged me. They never used game. They never manipulated me. They never devalidated me. And, you know, I'm a bit confused here, what I should say about my own values. Pretty confused. I felt pretty bad last night about some of the things I said. And this morning, I got a whole bunch of threats. And I'm thinking that's probably a sign. It's probably a sign of what I'm supposed to say. And I'm so afraid of being outcast. I'm so afraid of being outcast for speaking my truth. For thought crimes. For thought crimes. I'm literally afraid of the punishment of thought crimes. Let me just show you. I wasn't going to read it. But let me show you you already saw. The pants I'm getting. The pants I'm fucking getting. You know, I'm already a dead samurai. I'm already a dead samurai. But there's a few things I want to get. I should check the mailbox too. I doubt it that it's here, but it might be. But I've been having a sore throat lately. Oh my god, I'm like, did someone put shit in my food? Well, I'd rather be me. I'd rather be me, motherfucker. Okay, did I get my new phone? Yeah. Saved by the bell. Saved by the fucking bell. Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Dance Girl. I don't know if you still love me, Dance Girl. Last night, I was like, and Dance Girl was a pervert, and she fucking took advantage of me, but she was just a kid, so it didn't matter. I set my trap for her, and it was sleazy. You know, I'd fucking regressed. You know, I was like, yeah, I enjoyed that. Okay, I enjoyed it, but I also hated it. Okay, I also hated it. I also wouldn't have chose that. I'm also glad it happened. Okay, there's a lot of contradictory things here. So we got fucking. Oh, so what does that mean? It means I agree with following the rules, and I also think the rules are wrong. Okay, if you're old enough to get pregnant, you're old enough to be a mother. That's what I think. And but I also agree, follow the rules. Okay, do I like the show To Catch a Predator? No, it's perverted. People watch it for their own perversions. If someone was like, hey, what's up? I'm Little Susie. I'd be like, no, Little Susie, that's against the rules. If Little Susie's like, hey, I'm breaking into your house to fucking force this on you, I'd be like, Little Susie, part of me fucking loves this. Just so you know. And I'd also be like, and this is going to be really psychologically traumatizing to both of us, because the rules are wrong, but the rules exist, and everyone follows them. And to not follow them means you're going to be outcast. And so I felt bad to TSF. TSF basically took the heat for Dance Girl and I. TSF did everything illegal, so Dance Girl and I could do nothing illegal and have our affair. And I'm like, these fucking people, dude. These fucking people. And I'm like, that's ungrateful to TSF. I was like, was this abusive, or was this the needed step to bypass the wrong rules? And TSF took the blame for us. And now we're fucking married. Or did Dance Girl even dump me? I don't even know. Every fucking day it's like a new thing. So I got my phone here, my new phone. This is fucking good. And so I write this post. I write, oh, this is nice. I write, if I ever stop being crazy, remember, don't trust anything I say. And don't say anything after I'm not crazy anymore, don't trust it, because it's all a lie. It's all hypocrisy. And remember that I'll always love you. Now, what am I quoting? I'm quoting what I said to Dance Girl back when we were in the thick of it. I said, one day I'm going to be not in a state of psychosis, and I'm going to be telling you, you know, this is wrong, I don't like this, which is true, but I'm going to be telling you that none of this is even real, that I don't actually love you. And don't believe it, because I do love you. And truth be told, I loved Blonde Girl too. I never meant to. You know, it was only after she kept stalking me, but then I was like, yeah, that's right, Blonde Girl, I do. And, you know, as it turned out, Blonde Girl was like, fuck you, I hate you. I'm like, okay, all right, Blonde Girl. But if it was a mistake, you're always welcome to, you know, I'll ask Dance Girl, once you're 19, you know, it can't be any less than that because you're in a position of vulnerability. But I loved you too, Blonde Girl, just so you know, it wasn't fake. And, you know, now is that disloyal to, you know, the Fourth and to these other pigs? That I'm like, well, Dance Girl gets to veto anything. Well, Dance Girl's my first pig. So that's fair. Dance Girl has the final say on anything. Okay? Because if Dance Girl didn't give me the final say, I'd fucking freak. Now I think Blonde Girl hates me, wants me to die, but who knows? Okay, that may have been someone else, pretty sure. I also thought maybe I was just scared of TSD. Maybe it's just TSD, and he's like, that's my girl. And I'm like, I'm not trying to force myself on her. Saying to a girl, once you're 19, I'll ask my girlfriend if we can have a threesome with you. That's not fucking forcing anyone. It's not like I'm going to be like, okay, and I'm going to be hanging outside your house. You know, I'm not like fucking going out looking for Blonde Girl. So, you know, I hope that doesn't piss Dance Girl off. But, you know, I wrote this thing this morning about from when I was like traumatized, and I had no filters at that point. And, you know, I was saying, remember, if I suddenly snap back to my normal mind, I'm not going to be able to say any of this. Okay, so this phone is pretty cool. And so yeah, and the reason why I got wrapped is because it was the Rosalie day. It was when I walked by Dance Girl when she was with Rosalie, and it scared her. Dance Girl was like, oh shit, now we're alone. She walks like 50 feet around me on the side. And then that scared her, and that bruised her ego. And then she had to find an excuse to have me raped. That's a very fragile ego. Very big ego. I think Dance Girl's ego is getting smaller though. So yeah, like no other pig can, or like no other meat can say that, you know, oh, you're just unfair. Well, Dance Girl is my fucking first pig, so she's my fucking pig. So she always gets to say what's what. Okay, so basically, let's try plugging it in. It's really nice. This is a beautiful phone. And we're getting an OtterBox case soon. Okay, now do I really think Blonde Girl's like, oh yeah, oh, I'm so upset? No, I don't think so. But why do I say that then? Because TSD is so protective. Protective when I'm not even doing anything invasive. I'm not even putting any pressure. I'm not even doing anything that there needs to be protection from. And he's like, I'm gonna steal your bike if you go near us. I'm like, what are you, like, what the fuck are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that Blonde Girl likes me? Because that's what it comes off as. In which case, my response is, we can schedule you in when you're 19, if Dance Girl says. And so we'll meet on the bridge. I mean, that's just a joke, okay? Obviously, we gotta check with Dance Girl. But if Dance Girl says, then, you know. So, okay, let's see if we can get this. Now, is that because Dance Girl on? Well, it should, because I said the same thing to Joanne. I said, okay, we'll meet you over there. Something there. Yeah. Dance Girl didn't get pissed off at that. She didn't get pissed off with the fourth. You know, it's not like Dance Girl doesn't have veto power. So, where's my phone? And it's not like that's unfair to any other pig. Or like any other meat, you know? And then, obviously, you know, the only thing that really changed in the plans is if Dance Girl and I ever want to live with other pigs, then we'd also live with other guys. Which could be like, you know, a real hoot. Or it could just be me and Dance Girl live together. You know, who knows? So, personally, I'm happy just living with Dance Girl, like, and the rest is optional. You know, I don't even think we have a big enough house to accommodate for a lot of people. We're gonna have a small house. Now, where's my memory card? Where's my phone? I don't even know. So, yeah, I agree with following the rules, and I don't agree with circumnavigating the law either. You might think I'm being slick. No, circumnavigating the law is not a thing. So yeah, am I thankful to the handler and to TSF for everything? Yeah. Yeah, you've projected your nature onto me. You've used me as a projection screen to project human nature, which you repress in yourself, and because I'm the Gorilla Daddy, you've projected it onto me. And I've been raising TSF. I've been the Gorilla Daddy to TSF, using Oblong as my proxy for like 12 years. So I've basically raised Dance Girl. And where the fuck, which is why we have so much in common, where the fuck is my phone? Now, is this going to make Dance Girl dump me? Theoretically, it shouldn't. Because it's consistent with everything else. But, you know, I have to find my fucking phone over here. Okay, I have no idea where my phone is, and this really bugs me. Now, is this going to look really bad if Dance Girl dumps me and I'm just left all on my own? And I'm like, yeah, the rules suck. Yeah, it is. I mean, you suddenly don't look valid. When you don't have a pig by your side, everything you say doesn't look good anymore, doesn't look cool. But I'm like, you know, Todd doesn't care. Todd didn't have a girlfriend. So maybe I'm fucked. You know? Why would Dance Girl dump me over this though? Well, it'd only be because she's jealous. But why would I think she's jealous? Well, because Blonde Girl was number 2. When I ordered all the pigs in order, I put Dance Girl as number 1 and Blonde Girl as number 2. And she might say that's a little too close. But truthfully, I think it was Blonde Girl outside of TSD's house, and I do think she doesn't like me. And so I don't care. Just like, what if it was a fucking lookalike? You know, I'm just being careful here. Okay. Yeah. I don't know where the fucking thing is. And it's something about you know what's making me say this? It's something about TSD's fervent overprotection. It's something about his like, you know, I'm not gonna let you near her, and I'm like, TSD, I've never even seen her except when she stopped. Like what's wrong with you? Like you're actually insane. You're probably fucking. You're actually insane. You're actually insane. Like, I believe in following the rules. ChatGPT says I can say all of this. This is like standard civilized talk. And you know, I got 10 likes for this comment saying, remember, don't trust anything I say after I'm not crazy. And then all the comments, and there were 7 comments of people talking about, oh, Stu, the cat share my food, raping me, and who are these people who are threatening to kill you and rape you? They're people who have never fucked a hot pig in their life. And maybe, so it's like, so what's the worst case scenario? I'm like, yeah, the rules are wrong. Follow the rules and don't circumnavigate them, because that's even more wrong. But the rules are wrong. What's the worst case scenario? And to say, and to say sorry to blonde girl, that, you're not a treacherous cunt like your mom, necessarily, but, a blonde is nice, she's neurotic, she's smiling at you, and yet she's sexually repressed. I might have to ask Dance Girl who's scheduling a vlog. I doubt that'll happen. I think we should avoid scheduling any baby G-girls just because they're in a vulnerable position. You should wait till they're 19. Just because, if you're in a vulnerable position, you should wait till you're 19. It kind of cancels out. And someone like Fourth, I think she's 19, because I think she's Pete Cabana on Reddit. But if she's not psychologically damaged, so, or she's not in a vulnerable position. And so, with her, you could just ask her how old she is. I think she's 19. I would not even need to check her ID. Coming from Joanne's family, I would trust what she says. And we should schedule in her mom too. We got a big black guy across the street with a backpack and coffee. Saying we're gonna force her to go out walking. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go out walking. Certainly. I mean, sometimes I'm still scared Dance Girl's gonna dump me. I'm still scared even just saying this. Like last night, something really fucked up happened. I'm not even sure what it was. I got scared. And it's difficult saying this because the people who comment on me, they're so low. They're so stupid and vile that it's disturbing to think that might be the only people who are even watching. In which case, part of me could laugh, and part of me could say, I'm alone, well, so what? At least I have myself. In this moment, I feel alone. I do, I really feel alone. For some reason, I can't figure out what it is. But I feel like Dance Girl doesn't like me all of a sudden. And I don't know why I feel like that. But I think she got humiliated one time when she got scared. She's like, I'm Dance Girl, I don't get scared of anyone. How she sounded was really fucking angry. She's like, I know me. Like, you could hear how much that angered her to feel in that position. She's like, now you gotta fucking die for that. I was like, Dance Girl, you're mad because you've been threatening to kill me. You're mad because you've been hiding behind a fucking boyfriend and he's talking to me. And, you feel like I'm gonna do that back to you. And you couldn't handle your own. When you do to other people, you couldn't handle when someone did that to you. And then when I saw Dance Girl's parents in the forest, I was scared of them. And it bruised my ego. It really made me upset. I was like really deep who is the third and the fourth and the fifth? You know, the fourth is the fourth. And she got me. I forget who the third was. Maybe it was Peter Pekwan. But anyways, so I see Dance Girl's parents, and I'm really scared. You know, and I literally submit to them. I instantly submit. And I say, I'm going towards you. I just answer literally. They ask me a passive question to threaten killing me. And I answer literally as if they're not threatening me. Right? You know, it was very humiliating. And then her mom says, hi. As if to say, don't worry, you're not half bad. You know, it's not so embarrassing. We like you, kid. Don't worry about it. And, you know, you can imagine if I had unlimited power, how insane I would have gone. And, so, last night something basically the same happened. My mom comes over and she says, you gotta delete this thing and post it on your newsfeed. And I feel instantly interrogated. I feel like totally belittled. I feel like I'm not the girl of daddy at all. I feel humiliated. Like I'm powerless. Like all of a sudden my standing is completely in jeopardy. That without a house, I'm not the girl of daddy. If I'm just homeless, I'm not the girl of daddy. If I don't have the luxuries I have, having basically an established life, like a car, and a good spot in the city, and, you know, access to grocery stores and food, and, you know, nice shoes and whatnot, then I'm fucked. If I don't have a good rent price for my mom, then I'm fucked. And nobody's gonna like me. Then I just lose everything. And it all is dependent on my mom. And so I gotta basically bow down out of anger. Not a true bow. I'm like, fuck. You know, I'm resentful. It's a formal bow. But it's not an informal one. It's just posturing. And I don't agree at all. You know, of course I used to argue. But now I don't even argue. I want to say, well, it's just so no grass. You know, it doesn't even matter. Everyone already knows I'm grass. If people try to fuck with us, we have people on our side too. And maybe not. Maybe there are straight up people putting shit in our food. I've had a sore throat for like 5 days. You know, I could be people putting shit in our food. I don't know. Every time I eat food, I imagine people I love watching like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You know? I also imagine some other things, like certain people who have bothered us have gotten physically harmed. And so I'm like, I don't fucking know what's true, it's just my imagination. And so ultimately, I went from, you know, the last time I ever mentioned Blonde Girl, I don't know if Dance Girl and I were fighting at that time, but I said, you know, I'll never try and slime you until you're 19 or 18 or something like that, because you're too fucked up. You're too, like, you've been through too much. That's like wrong to you. And so I said I'll always be your brother until then. If you ever see me, you know, I'll just treat you like a brother, like a non-incestuous brother. And Yeah, we can schedule in Oblong too. I mean, we have 61 years. We have 60 and a half years. 60 years and 10 months. So, now is Dansko going to break up with me? Why do I keep thinking this? Well, because last night I had a regression. Because I got terrified of my own mom. I was terrified of my own mom. I literally, you know, in the wild, if there's a gorilla daddy, last night I basically lost my gorilla daddy status, that's why. All the women fuck the gorilla daddy. If the new gorilla daddy comes in, all the women instantly know he's not the gorilla daddy anymore. They instantly know. And last night, I regressed to a state where I wasn't really the gorilla daddy. I felt like the gorilla baby. Who became the gorilla daddy in the meantime? I don't know. But it didn't feel like me. I suddenly couldn't even talk. I was suddenly like I was 5 years old. I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. And I've seen that face on Dance Floor. You know, it was the Rosalita. She didn't like it either. You're not allowed to see this version of me. That's very humiliating. And then, you know, right after I felt like that, I started putting all the weight on Dance Girl. And Dance Girl was converted, and she fucking, I set a trap for her, and I was the mastermind, and I caught them all. And I was just defending myself. Just defending myself. I didn't like any of it. I hated the whole thing. And then I felt the voices of these people. I felt these people. Who threatened me. I wrote perverted things on a password-protected private page. And I said, if you read this, dance girl, it proves that you're a fucking stalker and that you're a pervert. That this is about your sexual desire, which you're projecting onto me because you're repressed. And that I'm being entrapped in traffic. And the more nasty stuff I write, considering that I gave this to Louise and she gives it to you, that counts as her distributing porn. And that doesn't go on me, that goes on them, and that's going to give them a lifetime sentence in prison. And that's my draft. And I'm like, and that's what I did. And I wasn't following you, I was following up with you, just to fuck you over. Because you fucked me over, so I'm going to get you back. And I felt really guilty, like, actually, you're my pig, and we needed the help from the family to do this so that we could be together. And I'm really thankful, and I had a great time. And if I could choose to be anyone's sweater, I'd choose to be Dance Girls. And had the law permitted, I would have slimed Dance Girl back then. And, and I would have loved it. Well, forgive me for wanting to get raped by Dance Girl instead of by TSD. Oh no. And fucking... So I was definitely biased in how I framed it last night. I was trying to put all the way, because I lost my Gorilla Daddy status, and then I was trying to justify it. And I did apologize to them for that. But the thing I'm worried of is that because I lost my Gorilla Daddy status, it's no longer effective. And I haven't felt the same sense. Now that I get it back, I'm going to get access back. Now I'm like, Egg Long Road. Shit, boy. Oh, never mind. What the fuck? Okay. Is this a SIM card slot? I thought there was a memory card slot in there. Okay. Where does the SIM card go? If there's not a SIM card slot in here, ChatGPT told me there is. What's that all about? Yeah, so long. It's like we'll hear it sometimes. Maybe around Christmas, we'll hear us play. We do it on December 12th. Oh yeah, okay, it says micro SD and SIM. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to have an emotion.
we have a fucking music player now.
So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna download a thing to make the buttons floating on buttons, like physical buttons. You have a physical button that you push, and it has a limited number of times. It's spinning on its own. So we're gonna never push a button again. We're gonna get a magnetic effect that goes in here so they look like this, only they're white. And they don't have the wide toes. And the wide toes are very necessary. The fact that you don't have wide toe shoes, you should probably need them. And these are the ones that I normally wear. And you can see how many times I've fixed these with shoe glue and with tape. You know, and you can see how much they're falling apart on the inside. I'm gonna try to put tape on here. But these are not even wide toe. They just appear like wide toe because they're so loose. I mean, the frame of the shoe is just this mesh, this nylon. And so my toes kind of step over the side a little bit. But it doesn't really matter because it just steps on the mesh. And the sole is as thin as paper anyway. And then I tried modifying my other ones. I probably should have sold these. I could have sold these for like $60. But instead I tried modifying them and I cut them all up. And I was trying to rip out the soles so that I could put the soles in my other shoes. And so now I only have $100 left. Maybe like $108 because I have some tunes in my room. And I have that until the rest of the month. Plus I already passed $55. Which are on sale for $77 with my ninja pants. I got them in brown red. I was going to make them black and red. I got brown and red. So if I could take the sole out here, I could take this sole out. And I could put this sole in my other ones. That would be good, but the other one's not even wide foot. Like, do I have the confidence to wear my ninja pants to my date? No. Do I even think I'm going to have a date? Yeah, I don't even know. Of course I'm going to go. Of course I'm going to stay sober and show up. But do I even think that's the lights anymore? I don't know. Why would it bug me? Because last night I stopped being the alpha. My mom was the alpha last night. And I didn't even know. I was like, I became a faggot. First thing a faggot can do is kill his own life. Really, that's true. You know, not on purpose, but, you know. I hope that doesn't sound like a threat or something. I'm not trying to be a threatening person, right? That's not what I mean at all. I'm saying he'll be like, you know, some robbers come, and he'll be like, just hurt the girl, just don't hurt me. That's what he'll say. That's what he'll say. And that's how I was last night. I was like a betrayer. I was a little baby Judas. You know, and once I started to regain my real daddyhood, I was like, yes, well, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry, I fucking enjoy setting my facts on you. But how do you get this off? You know, I don't know. I wish there was one of those professional arm wrestlers here. Who can just really rip this off. Let's just try this on. Yeah, these are not the best. I should have sold these. I just lost like 50 fucking bucks. I'm so stupid. I could use that money too. I'm not just like, oh, 50 bucks is nothing. You know, I could use that fucking money. Like, I'm fucking broke now. I didn't even think, just sell them. Like, it didn't even cross my mind. I'm like, oh, I know, I'll just cut them up with scissors. Yeah, that makes sense. My fucking $400 shoes. Waste a fucking $1,000 pair of shoes. You know? I could have made like $2,300. But instead, I'm like, oh, I'll just cut down a fucking $10,000 pair of shoes. That's cool. Yeah, fucking $50 million pair of shoes. No big deal. Could buy a mansion with them. No, it's cool. Don't be a billionaire. Don't sell your trillionaire shoes. You know? But could you imagine if Yesco's in a cage? She's leaning up against the side of the cage, reading a book. And I just put my dick through, like between her and the book. And if she bites it or anything, you know, the cage is electrified. And she's naked. So she knows she can't do that. And I'm like, are you going to move? Or are you going to stand there? You're just going to sit there. I'll bet you'll just sit there. And I remember I have electrodes hooked up to your brain. I'm reading a brain chemistry. So I can tell if you like this. But I'm only going to tell you that after. You're going to think that those are just measuring other stuff. I'm going to have a whole elaborate system. Like, we have to measure your heart rate for your jogging, keep you healthy. And then I'll say, this can actually measure if you have an orgasm. This can actually measure your excitement. And that's the whole movie. And you're too stubborn. You're too stubborn to move. I think you like it. I think you like it. Just slide it through. And, she'd be so mad. She'd be really fucking mad. And I'd say, well, if you're so mad, why do you like it then? Why do you sit up against the side of the cage so often? Don't you like the new rollerblades I got you? Oh, I love my fucking phone.
like our tenant. I think she's probably
Windows 11. Oh, that was greasy. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Oh, shit. So that means I could get them in the light color. Let's see what happens. Or should I get them in black? It will look good with my visual details. Yeah, no wonder they were so good. Really? I'm excited. You know what? I'm kind of happy they only come in black. I kind of like that color. Okay. So, yeah, that was an 11. I feel suddenly very bored. Very fucking bored. Oh man, I had this friend. His name is Adam Pinsky. Adam Lipinski. I didn't really like him. He wasn't really like that. He was a jerk. And he worked with Tyler in Real Social Dynamics. He was a sales writer for Tyler. Like he wrote the copyright. You know, like, are you ready to shoot into a new part of your life? Shoot into some new adventures with some hot girls? Well, you're going to have to push Control-Delete on your brain because this is going to fry you. So go ahead and sit down. You know, like that kind of stuff. And he's like, Tyler's all about the money. And I said to Tyler once, I was like, you know, I went to an event once that I paid to go to, thinking you were going to be there. You said you were going to be there, and you weren't there. So, since you're doing an event locally, this is in Chicago, where I first realized how much I like black women. And I said, since you're doing an event locally, can I come for free? Since I went to the last one and paid, thinking that you were going to be there, and I only wanted to meet you. And he was like, he just blew me off, instantly blew me off. And like when we go to the cab, we would have to pay for his cab rides. Everywhere we went in the cab, from bar to bar, we always had to pay. And you know, before I took this program, this boot camp it was called, which is like $2,000 or something, or like $2,500. I emailed him and I was like, are you actually going to be here? Because I only want to be there if you're going to be there. funny enough, the amount of sex pigs took care of me. I've had mostly pigs who would take care of me. You know, in exchange for being a sex slave, of course. But, you know, last night I held Stu, and I imagined it was a baby. And I thought, yeah, it's probably so turned on right now if she saw this. If she imagined me holding a baby, she'd be like, oh my god. She'd be like, stick that baby in me right now, so I'm popping that out. And then on Saturday, I went out with Jeffy, and within like 5 minutes, I was like, this guy fucking sucks. This guy fucking sucks. And I don't have a phone or anything, so I just leave. And, you know, it's like, whoa, where did he go? Where did he go? And I just go out looking for Tyler, because I know Tyler's like a few blocks away at a different bar. So I'm just walking back to see Tyler. I'm just like, I can't. You know, Tyler tells me what to do. He's like, Jeffy is just as good. We're all professionals here. I'm like, okay, I wanted to meet you. I'm doing what you say. And so I walk back to the bar Tyler's at. He's with some other students, and this guy who's like a Mennonite. And he's really nice too. Like, not that I like Mennonites, okay? If you know what I mean. But also I like Mennonites. And he's like, so Tyler's like, how many girls have you fucked? And he's like, oh, like, I don't know, like maybe 1 or 2. And Tyler's like, if it's 1 or 2, you know it's 1 or 2. It's not 1 or 2, it's either 1. You have to say it. Is it 1 or is it 2? If it's like 351 or 352, maybe you don't quite know. But if it's 1 or 2, you know which it is. And so he's like, oh yeah, okay, it's not 1. And this guy was like really shy. You know, really shy. He was like normal size, like big, like, you know, he could kick my ass, like fucking, like a normal sized guy. Like he looks like he's killing the fields. That kind of guy. Really nice. Really quiet. You know, we have this energy like we're going to war now. Like this is scary. This is actually really scary. It's actually really scary going to a bar and just like find the hottest girls and work off them with really trying your best. It's actually really scary. I mean, social pressure is really scary. Tyler is like, you should be happy. You should be proud of yourselves, even if it doesn't go well. You should be proud of yourself. 99% of guys would never have the balls to do this. And what you're doing in one weekend is more approaches than a normal guy does in his life. And you should be really proud of yourself. I was like such a perfectionist, I had a balls. I was like, yeah, but unless I have the queen, it doesn't matter. And, you know, I never really thought, yeah, actually, most guys wouldn't do that. Most guys actually couldn't do that. It actually is really fucking scary. It's like really fucking scary. Some guys can, but some guys do it all the time. You know, we had our roommate, Duffy. Her boyfriend's friend, Mark, had fucked like 80 girls. And, or even more, maybe it was 180, but I think it was like 80. And he was, you know, he's a high on fire. He's Mark. He's one of those kind of guys, right away, he's a real prick. He's a fucking huge asshole. And he's really cool. but Travis is much better looking than Mark. Far better looking. And far cooler. It's one of those things. What do you like better? An industrial pop song that sucks, that everyone likes? Or an indie song that's just for you? You're not mediocre. In a certain sense, you're not mediocre. And so I go find Tyler basically on Saturday night, and I find him, and I'm like, I can't use Duffy. I'm like, Duffy fucking, he's not a real guy. He's just a fucking retard. He's nothing. And Tyler is, he can't just leave. We're responsible for you. Like, you can't just leave. And why Duffy called me gay? Because I got a hotel an hour away from the bars. Because it was cheaper. And they're like, you can't take an hour train ride with a girl at 3 in the morning. And, or something else. Maybe there was might have been some other reason, but they definitely were like, that was a big mistake. And when I was taking the train, there was this black guy who was like, I just want to warn you. He's like, you shouldn't be here. He's like, I'm doing you a solid right now. The area where you're in, if you just walk around, there will be someone who's going to challenge you. And I was like, well, I'm getting along with these fat fucking women on the bus. And he's like, get on the bus and go to your station or wherever, and don't go down a side street. And of course I did. And there's this guy, he's like, hey yo! He's like, you got a quarter? And he's following me real aggressive. And it's like $1 million o'clock at night. It's like fucking 10 million o'clock at night. Even later, like 20 million. And he's fucking asking me for a quarter. And I'm like, I'm wearing my H&M shoes. Some other store in the mall that I like. We had this criminal friend who would have really nice clothes all the time. And I wanted to have shoes like him. And so I had this really nice pair of shoes. I was in like dress shoes in Chicago. And I said, I don't even have your currency. I said, I'm from a different country. I don't even have your currency. And I just started running. And, so I go find Tyler on Saturday. And he's like, we're responsible for you. Like, you can't just leave. And I'm like, yeah, I know. The deputy is a fucking retard. And I don't even like him. He's fucking retard. I don't even... He's standing by the bar getting drunk. Like, seriously. He's standing by the bar getting drunk. So Tyler's like, okay, you can come with us. And so it's me and Tyler and this little Indian guy. And he's really good. And he gets fucking... He shows how fucking nasty guys are. That he's like talking to this girl who likes him, and her friends come around and they basically fucking get physical. And Tyler goes up to him and he's like, this girl likes him, and you guys are ruining her time. And, and the same with like, this black girl walks by, and Tyler has a thing for black girls, so Tyler's fetish is black girls. And she's with this guy, and Tyler's like, oh, you think ever since Obama won, you just ignore me? Like, now you're someone, now you're hot shit? And this bouncer who's like 7 feet tall, is running over, and like, pushes Tyler. And Tyler's like, shut your fucking mouth.
by this time, her actual boyfriend has already gotten in the cab. And he can tell that Tyler is of a higher caliber. He can tell that Tyler is literally of a higher caliber. He just goes into the cab, and she's like, oh, yes, sir. And he just goes into the cab. And his bouncer's like, you can't talk like that to your girl. You can't say like that's racist. And Tyler's like, tell this guy that you're my fucking girlfriend. And she basically sits up with him. She's like, yeah, he's cool, we like him. And his bouncer's like, oh, okay. And he walks back. And, you know, there's like another one too. Like, I really wanted to, I basically kept saying to Tyler, I kept thinking of this impossible situations. I was like, I want you to talk to her. I want to see the rest of you talk to her. And it's like a girl with like 10 guys in her. And like a super hot girl. And Tyler's like, yeah, this is called Moses part of the United States. He caught all the guys. Like, watch, this is Moses part of the United States. And he goes up, he puts his hand out, and, you know, I'm watching him with a creep. Like, I'm sitting there watching him with a fucking creep. Like, oh my god, really? And, you know, and Tyler has, I think, the same phone as me. He has a fucking Android. That's another reason I like his phone. That's another reason I'm talking about it. And, you know, fucking, the guys are all laughing at him. He brings the girl to our table. And the guys all follow. And the guys are all trying to understand. And it's like, wow, mom, I was amazed by that. I was amazed by that. And so, and then that night, there's a fucking pond. Or like a Latino, like some kind of Italian, maybe Sicily or something, olive skip. And she is fucking gorgeous. And she's on the phone. And I had been getting rejected all night. I had been getting some successes. I would say, like, okay, see those two black girls right there? Go make out with them. Literally go make out with them right now. And then, okay. Like, hi, I'm here to make out with you. They're like, what? Where are you? What? I'm like, I'm from Canada. I just wanted to make out with you. They're like, we're going to our house to change. We're coming back. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll come. And then, like, by the end of the night, I'm like in a different zone. Like I had been threatened, I had been scared. Like how he's like, the girl whose brother just went to kick your ass and shook your hand and scared you, that girl's the hottest girl in the world. I'm like, oh cool. Like I didn't even know. Like, you know? And Tyler's like, okay, see that girl? Go tell her to get out of here. Go pick her up the front. Go up to her and say, you're done. Get the fuck out of here. Stand there and see what she does. I'm like, someone's gonna beat me up. And he's like, no, watch, I'll do it. And he goes over, he's like, and he says, like, you're done. Get out of here, now. And she's like, what? You know, and that's how he starts the conversation. And it's like, it's funny. And then he's doing it to, this one girl who her man comes up and he gets right, you know, this guy is a fat alpha male. Not a girl with daddy, but like an old school alpha male. He's like, that's my fucking girlfriend. I'm marrying you. And Tyler is like, you know, he's like picking Tyler up. Like, you know, like he's gonna fucking punch Tyler's head off. And Tyler's like, you had to meet her too. At some point she was single and you had to meet her too. How was I supposed to know?
guess we couldn't have went to her house that night because I don't know why. I mean, she had mentioned her house. And I was like, we should go to the hotel instead. I don't know, because I had all my stuff at the hotel. I couldn't come back to her house. I mean, I had to get my sleep. You know, I was going on like almost no sleep. I don't exactly know what the reason was. But the next night she was, and Tyler's like, tell her to kill herself. And so I was like, okay. And so I get the little Indian guy. I'm like, hey, I don't have a phone. And Tyler said I'm supposed to tell her to kill herself. So can I write it on your phone? He's like, yeah, sure. So I'm like, hey, it's me. Text me from my friend's phone. And Tyler says, lose my number. And I'm like, I'm texting lose my phone. So lose my number. And don't even lose my number. Use other guy's phone. Like, killing yourself. And I don't know if I had a cell phone. I mean, I used that guy's phone to text him. But I remember Tyler giving me his phone number too. But I don't think that I had a phone. Or I did have a phone, but I was in Chicago, so it didn't work. I think I had an iPhone, because I was showing Tyler pictures of my pig. And so yeah, I did have an iPhone. And I didn't have a SIM card. I didn't have a SIM card that works. I did have a SIM card too, but I didn't have a SIM card that works somewhere. I didn't have it. And so, anyways, on the third night, I was like, wow, this was a really great experience. Tyler was like, that girl who I was with, I would have fucked with Suda. You see that I was going home with her, and then I came back, hanging out with you guys. You see, I did this from start to finish. See how easy it is? I'm like, yeah, I did both from start to finish too. On the second day, I got probably one of the hottest girls I've ever seen in my life. And I would have fucked her had it not been for the distance. And the amount of pain I had to go through to get that was like a lot. It was a lot. By the time I could just talk to her normally, I had to go through a million barriers getting over myself. And I saw it with the little Indian guy too. I saw that he could too if it wasn't for those fucking people. And I saw it with Tyler too. Tyler's not conventionally, he's short, he's bald, and he's a ginger. Apparently some people think he's not cool. And fucking, my cousin is right there. She walks on water to me. And fucking, it's not that bad, but it's, maybe it's dry. I don't know. But to some extent, I'm like, I'm like skinny. I need to see somebody who's unconventional who can do this. And so I was really happy about it. And I told Travis, I'm like, we're fucking losers, man. These guys are super cool. We gotta be like them. And Travis was like, what? We're not losers. Travis and I are pretty cool. But yeah, meeting Tyler was pretty cool. Imagine paying $2,000 or $3,000 to hang out with someone for a weekend. I did that with my dad. That's how I met my dad. And I did that with Tyler. And, it changed my life, really. The weird thing was, I thought I could force myself to do this. If I just went and forced myself to talk to about the kids, I could do that. But I need someone to tell me to do it. My dad would never do it. He would never say, he would never say, go make out with those two girls. He would never say that. He would say, that's ridiculous. That's idiotic. did that off the cuff. That's, oh, like, oh, that unable Bobby Slub? What are you doing with her? Like, right, in front of everyone. Still went through all that. Presumably Tyler was getting stuff too. I couldn't imagine him not. But in spite of being getting stuff, I didn't pull the push thing up. It fucking was awesome. It was fucking awesome. And I did it in Denmark. That's why I met my girlfriend. Her name was Lynn. Cousin Kim, that is Kim's person. You know, my best friend in Denmark is Asbjørn. He was a soldier. Very beautiful. And Lynn and Kim were cousins. And we would hang out without. And it was just on the tip of my tongue to be on a train. And Lynn was getting her second abortion. Come over and come inside because I'm getting an abortion. It's so painful. I'm gonna have your back pushed down. And I saw Kim at the store, high heels from behind, while she was stalking me. After I'd already fucked her, and after she was already my pig, she was from Sweden, and she was there while I was in Denmark. She was in Denmark. She was from Malmö. And I said, oh God, I can't like that. Because I had seen her ass with my heels on. I said, oh, I've never seen a pig like, you should see her. You should fucking see her. She's a clog with a gorgeous face. Like, you should see her. Like, she's fucking hot. And, you know, I had so many of these fucking experiences. I didn't think anything of it. Now that I'm looking back, I'm like, you get transformed into fucking Jared. You get the whole town wanting to break you to death. And you're like, I'm a fucking gorilla daddy. Like, I'm a fucking lion living among sheep. And they're telling me I'm a sheep, and I started believing it. Like, Lynn is fucking hot. I see her ass from behind, and I'm like, oh, I think I was like that. Oh, man. And then I'm like, oh, it's my thing. Oh, great. Guys, it's my thing. You know? I'm like, holy shit. And then fucking Lil from Norway. Holy shit. She was like on another level. She was like as hot as they get. She was like, come inside me. Don't wear a condom. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, fucking right. She's like, I'm on the pill. I'm like, yeah. I don't trust Kate Stack. They're not responsible. Most guys, they would have been like trying to fuck her without a condom. Not even caring that she's on the pill. You gotta go through an entire city. You have to have an entire city to leave Geneva. I'm like, well, I come home, I'm like, I've been living in Sweden, living in Denmark, living in Toronto, and I come home to this little Nazi town, Kitchener, North Kitchener, we met with a concentration camp. I'm like, well, who gives a fuck about these fucking really big idiots? thinking about how my life has evolved, how it's transformed. I'm thinking about how eventually I said I would rather just pay service. Because it's always been a fucking nightmare. Because every relationship I've had has been a nightmare. I would rather just pay them. And that sounds a little pathetic, but I'm like, you know what? I could have a relationship at this point. It's not what you think. And, I had this one swimmer who was Madison. And at some point I was like, I think I could be a boyfriend. Because I can already tell that it would end up really bad. I can already see our futures together. And it would end up really bad, and I can tell. I was like, I've already had a swimmer girlfriend. I already know your archetype. And ultimately, the real reason why I won't be a boyfriend is like, I think it's like 10 grand a week. It's just like, okay, we got a lodging food. Right there. We got a flight coming up. We got a BMX flight. We got a board flight for that. I guess it's going to be I was like, I can't be rich. I'm gonna be scared all the time. They're gonna cheat on me. The last relationship was a terrible nightmare. I had to go through a bunch of learning curves. Alexa, what's the package? Alexa, stop. Yeah, it was basically like, you're a really hot chick, I really like you, you're my favorite stripper, I only got my bitches for you, and I'm in a relationship with you, and I wouldn't, because you're just gonna dump me, you're just gonna cheat on me, I'm really pathetic, I'm not psychologically prepared to deal with a girl that's hot. And I know because I already had multiple. Basically, something happened in the last 5 years, like getting the gang caught by the whole town. I became a man. I was like, now I really don't care what you guys think of me. It's not from a place of apathy. It's from a place of connectedness. Somehow I'm based. So, anyways, I think that's like about the whole conversation. I hope that I have a nap. I can do other videos up later. I'll go for a bike ride. We don't see Dance Girl. Hopefully Dance Girl still loves me. We can go on a date. Second. And then we can get married again. Have another month of marriage. And so far, I really like it. I hope that we can see the and so I'm gonna play on my phone. I'm gonna check out my phone. This is so awesome. I'm gonna check my daughter downstairs. So anyway, I hope you still love me, Dance Girl. I still love you. And now there's a guy and a girl walking by. So maybe this is time for Dance Girl. Oh, and you got the names. Names of girl. It's a Costa Rican girl. They're driving a white truck. The white truck is a very bad sign. That is a black Mazda. White truck is a Reiki truck. Well, I don't care. I don't think Dance Girl would send that. I think if Dance Girl was mad at me, she wouldn't do that. I don't think she would mad at me. I think the worst thing Dance Girl would do at this point is just the handler